Hello there. Welcome to another episode of Electric Sheep. Um, let's just get going. A word of warning. I think the way this is set up, the story is actually going to loop once it gets to the end. So if you hear the title at the end again, that means we successfully looped the story, and I'll try to stop it before the story starts again. But I'll shut up now. Let's get going. Let's see.
Hush, Lightbringer. The galaxy sighed in collective relief when the sun gun went silent. For centuries, the galaxy had lived under its shadow, entire civilizations obliterated or ransomed by its wielders. The sun gun, a monstrosity of engineering, had a singular, horrifying purpose: to fire stars like bullets at planetary systems. Its power came from the Lightbringer vessels, ships capable of grappling and maneuvering stars into position. When the sun gun's operators vanished, the galactic government dismantled the weapon with ruthless efficiency. Yet, a salvage company made a bold request to preserve one Lightbringer vessel, not as a weapon of destruction, but as a tool for salvation. With the government's grudging approval, the Lightbringer became the property of a small crew, united by a singular purpose: to undo the damage wrought by the weapon and bring hope to a galaxy scarred by its legacy. Chapter 1. A graveyard of stars. Captain Veladaran stood on the observation deck, staring at the remnants of the sun gun's massive structure. The disassembled wormhole segments floated in neat lines like bones of a long-dead leviathan. Around her, workers in exosuits methodically stripped away panels and systems, leaving behind only the components critical to Lightbringer. "Still gives me the creeps," muttered Eric Hallow, the ship's astrophysicist, as he joined her. "A weapon that could sling stars like cannonballs. Makes you wonder what kind of minds dreamed it up." "Monsters? Probably," Vela replied, her voice hard. "But if this ship can undo even a fraction of the damage they caused, it's worth it." Behind them, the rest of the crew prepared for launch. Engineer Talia Greaves checked the fusion drives, muttering to herself about ancient tech that barely passed safety inspections. Navigator Jax Mirren plotted their first mission: a decaying star in the distant Halvan system. When the Lightbringer finally detached from its berth and began its maiden voyage, there was a quiet sense of purpose among the crew. They weren't just salvaging technology, they were salvaging hope. Chapter 2. The Dying Sun. The Halvan system was on the brink of collapse. Its red giant star was dying, its core unstable and on the verge of implosion. The system's inner planets were frozen wastelands, and the outer ones were consumed by gravitational chaos. Millions of lives across scattered colonies depended on the Lightbringer to reignite the star and restore stability. The mission was a stark reminder of the ship's original purpose. The Lightbringer's grappling beams, designed to load stars into the sun gun like ammunition, now had to serve a far nobler goal. "We're basically working backward from a nightmare," Vela remarked during the planning session. "The same tools they used to destroy worlds, we're using to save them." The plan was audacious: siphon material from a nearby gas giant and inject it into the star to reignite its core. The process required precision on a scale no one had ever attempted. For days, the crew worked tirelessly. Grappling beams latched onto the gas giant, drawing streams of hydrogen into containment fields. The Lightbringer danced dangerously close to the dying star, its shields straining against intense radiation. Talia constantly monitored the ship's systems, patching up weaknesses as they appeared. When the final burst of material was injected, the red giant trembled violently. For a terrifying moment, the star seemed ready to collapse entirely. Then, with a brilliant surge, it stabilized. Its fiery surface smoothed, casting a warm glow across the system. Cheers erupted across the ship as sensors confirmed the star's revival. Colony leaders broadcast their gratitude, hailing the Lightbringer as a miracle. "We turned a bullet into a beacon," Eric said, a hint of awe in his voice. Chapter 3. The Dyson Sphere. With their success in Halvan, the Lightbringer's reputation spread. It wasn't long before the Zenith Coalition approached them with a challenge: to swap a black hole with a new star inside a massive Dyson sphere. The Coalition's Dyson sphere, a construct designed to harness the energy of a star, had been rendered useless when its original star collapsed into a black hole. Hundreds of planets and countless lives relied on the sphere's energy, and the coalition was desperate for a solution. You're telling me we have to haul away a black hole? Talia said, wide eyed as she reviewed the mission brief. Let me guess. You want us to just drop it off somewhere safe, like it's old furniture? It's either that, Vela replied grimly, or trillions of people lose power and start starving in the dark. The plan was breathtaking in its complexity. First, the crew would locate and position a suitable replacement star, a young yellow dwarf. Next, they'd carefully extract the black hole from the Dyson sphere's core and transport it to a safe location using gravitational stabilizers and wormhole corridors to prevent catastrophic damage. Finally, they'd maneuver the new star into the sphere's core, aligning it with the energy receptors. The operation began with the retrieval of the yellow dwarf. The Lightbringer latched onto the star with its grappling beams, carefully towing it through a series of pre-calculated wormhole jumps. Each jump brought them closer to the Dyson sphere, the massive construct gleaming like a cosmic jewel. Once they arrived, the real challenge began. Grappling the black hole was like holding a live grenade. It required constant adjustments to prevent its gravitational pull from destabilizing the sphere. Talia worked feverishly to reinforce the ship's containment systems, while Jax navigated a perilously tight route to a deep space location designated for the black hole's disposal. After what felt like an eternity, the black hole was safely deposited in a remote region of space. The crew then returned to the Dyson sphere, where they guided the new star into its core with painstaking precision. When the sphere activated, its panels lit up in a dazzling cascade of energy. The Coalition's planets came back to life. Their cities once again bathed in light. Billions of lives were saved, and the Lightbringer was hailed as a miracle. We just swapped out death for life, Eric said, watching the star settle into its new home. If that's not redemption for this ship, I don't know what is. Chapter 4: The Echo of the Gun. Their success was short-lived. As they prepared to leave the Zenith Coalition, sensors picked up an anomaly, a faint signal from deep space. It was a series of pulses, almost like a distress beacon, but coded in an ancient dialect. It's coming from the edge of the system, Jax reported, frowning. Coordinates point to remnants of a sun gun ship. The discovery sent chills through the crew. While the sun gun's operators had vanished, whispers persisted of splinter factions still lurking in the galaxy. When the Lightbringer approached the source, they found a derelict vessel, a smaller version of the sun gun's star grapplers. Inside were logs that told a harrowing tale, a rebellion among the sun gun's operators, their infighting leading to the weapon's abandonment. But the logs also hinted at a darker truth. They weren't just moving stars, Eric said, scanning the data. They were creating something, a star system designed for a purpose we can't even begin to understand. Chapter 5: The Lightbringer's Legacy. Word of the Lightbringer's success spread quickly, inspiring hope across the galaxy. But Vela and her crew couldn't shake the unease of their discovery. If the sun gun had been part of a grander plan, what had its creators intended? And were they truly gone? The Lightbringer continued its missions, restoring life to dying systems and earning the trust of civilizations once paralyzed by fear. Yet, with each star they moved, the shadow of the sun gun loomed larger. Vela knew their work was just beginning. The Lightbringer wasn't just a ship, it was a promise, a beacon in the darkness. And perhaps, one day, it would confront the full legacy of the weapon it was born from. In the end, they weren't just moving stars. They were carrying the light of hope to a galaxy still haunted by its own darkness. Light.
And that was the loop. Also, might have noticed that little sound effect at the beginning there. I actually asked ChatGPT about those weird little sound effects. Those are on purpose. They actually do those for the mood to like change the story a little bit. I thought that was interesting. So you might notice a little sound in between paragraphs or something, but don't have a lot of time to talk about the story. But there's a lot to talk about. I really just kind of had this idea about the sun gun and the fact that you would have a ship that could move stars around just to load the bullets, kind of thing, and what a useful little thing that would be. Uh, and so that's kind of an expansion on that. Is where do we go from here? Obviously, what was a sun gun doing? It had to have had an effect on the universe, and um, it's now trying to. Well, now the bullet loading ship, the Lightbringer, is trying to make up for some of the damage that the gun has done by doing some good in the universe, and it's even got a mystery set up of what was the sun gun, the wielders of the sun gun, what were they doing? You know, um, wasn't really a mystery I had planned on expanding on, but ChatGPT kind of went in a direction with it, and I didn't think it was a bad way to go. And so that was ChatGPT's contribution, was the whole mystery. Ooh, look, another lost Lightbringer vessel. That's cool, and I like that. Um, that opens things up quite a bit because I didn't really know where to go with this other than stories about hauling stars around. But this really makes it its own little universe, I think, and I like it. It's got lots of characters. Maybe it's not the best dialogue in the world, but I like the line, "We turned a bullet into a beacon." That's cool. It was right after they relit a star, so you're like, well, where was the bullet? But it's like the star was the bullet. Like that's what this ship used to do, is move stars around. So you could refer to any star as a bullet, even though they didn't technically move a star that time. But I overall I like this story quite a bit. But I might return to the Lightbringer vessel in a future story. But for now, I like it just the way it is. And maybe we'll get the hang of those sound effects and really learn to mix them into our stories in the future here. That might be the precursor to great things, just like the Lightbringer itself. Alrighty. Well, I want to thank you for listening and watching. I wish you all the luck in the world. Peace out. And I love you very much.